Anyways,
All right. So now I think the even
can we
easier
bitch
topic will
about?
be.
Can we bitch about Contrapoint now?
Yeah, I think we'll be able to get through that in like
Oh,
5 minutes. Not really a problem there. Pretty simple situation, yeah.
Who's using phrase? Who's who's using phrases like "biogirl"?
Yeah. There's actually quite a lot there.
Oh,
Ew!
okay,
Yeah.
listen. They are real, actual, biological women, and then there are cis women. That's how I say it.
No, they are not. Biogirl
No.
isn't a thing.
Jonathan was saying that there are biological women and cis women are a subgroup of the biological women. He was turning it around to be ironic.
No, but
maybe?
even so, I don't think there are such a thing
No,
as
no.
biological women.
Yeah.
Women, it's a gender.
Yes.
There's nothing biological about gender.
Mhm.
I don't know. Bottom line is, I'm cis and it pisses me off. So I can't even imagine what trans women mostly feel when they read shit like that.
Yeah. Okay, so just to recap lightly. First off, the internet has been god awful towards non binary people forever, attacking them over pronoun shit. And then something happened this last week, I think, to cause another surge in discussions about pronouns? Or was this apropos of nothing in particular that Contra made her contribution?
She was responding to some a binary trans woman who was saying that it's funny to her to when she's in a room and everyone is cis but her, and they go around doing their pronouns, and only the cis people really need to pay attention, and she can just sit in the corner and say, you know, when her turn comes around, say that she's a she. Which is shitty because it first of all just assumes that everybody in that room is cis but her.
Yeah.
And
that's what we try to normalize, isn't it? Cis people
Yes, exactly.
giving their pronouns.
Right. Okay. So
And
like
then-
this was months ago that Tim Blake was like he thought on like he initially thought that like the cis people that had the pronouns in their Twitter bios were the alt writers or the right wingers that were trolling people doing that, making fun of that. But until others and me explain, no, it's for like we want the queer people want other cis people to like put their pronouns into their bios to normalize that. So
I really don't like Tim Blake.
Oh, he's a scumbag. Yeah. I don't like
Twitter keeps putting him in recommendation of who to follow, and I want to say no, I don't want to follow him. Him and Moxie, and I'm like, no, I don't want to follow them.
Unfortunately, a lot of people that you follow or you're friends with or you like also kind of like some of his tweets and follow him as well, including me. But that was so. But Tim finally did like put his pronouns in his bio. After being convinced that no, it's to help normalize that, to make it seem normal, and that's help normalizing pronouns helps the queer people.
And also cis women, I have to say, because we're constantly mistaken for dudes, anyways, on the internet, because the default human.
And also, you cut your hair, and you're not obviously wearing a dress, and you're not showing your tits. What's wrong with you? You have to exaggerate, otherwise we'll think you're dudes. I mean, it's right there.
Anyways, I'm sorry, Jamie, I cut you off. And
oh no, you're fine.
Yeah. So into this, Natalie stepped in and said, "Yeah, this causes a minor problem for trans people. Like if I'm sitting in a circle with a bunch of cis people, they're doing their pronouns, and I think this is the genuine feel. This is an okay core to it, right? That when you have a group of cis people and one trans person, everyone's going around doing their pronouns because they've noticed the trans person. They're trying to be woke, and all they're doing is making the trans person uncomfortable. Am I interpreting this correctly?"
That is what she was suggesting. There my problem with that is that that again, there's no way to know until you ask people their pronouns in a lot of cases if they are trans.
Yeah, because a lot of people don't want to quote unquote pass. A lot of people, their presentation doesn't match their gender. There are femme people who are masculine or NB. There are masculine people who are femme or NB. There's lots of mix and match and so on.
And there are people who are not NB and who doesn't give a shit.
Yeah, totally. Like,
I mean, I have my best friend is a trans guy, and he wears dresses because he likes dresses, but he's not non-binary. He's a guy.
I used to work at a queer resource center, and like every time that every day we would go around with pronouns, and there were a lot of cis people who were just like, I don't care what pronouns you use because it's not going to be a problem for me.
Exactly. Like, this is why this week I finally posted something I've been meaning to bring up in discussions about pronouns, because this actually happened. I was at an event where just a barbecue for this like a worker advocacy group was part of, and so we were just chatting, and one woman said like, I know I'm cis, but like, but I want to like start using or ask people to start using them pronouns for me, but like I don't want to like see how that feels, but like I don't want to like reappropriate or appropriate something from like queer culture, because like I don't want to like be a cis and like stepping onto their terrain. To which I did spoke up and said, I'm actually non-binary, and so he him my pronouns, but they them is fine, and I don't see a problem with like you wanting your pronouns to be they them. So yeah, go ahead, if you use they them, don't worry, I don't think you're appropriate in my mind. And so then I posted that.
Yeah, what the fuck do they care? I mean, they are policing non-binary people just like these people are policing them, and it pisses me off really, 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 really hard. That beyond the sheer shittiness that, I mean, I'm cis, I can't really talk about how it feels for NB people, but beyond that, on the queer level, they're doing the exact same thing that bigots did to LGBTQ people for.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Gatekeeping.
Policing.
Yes.
Gatekeeping, yep.
More than gatekeeping, it's policing.
And that's why I said that, I mean, there is that core of, real feels there, that when she's in that space and people are trying to be woke, what they end up doing part of the time is the reason they're doing it, at least it feels to her, is they're saying, oh, there's this trans person here, we need to now be careful. And it just calls her out and
I mean, she's
puts more attention and focus on her.
She's transforming into Caitlyn Jenner at this point.
I mean, she did acknowledge it was a very minor point. But
I think,
the fact is,
I think her money is getting to her head, to be honest. She's her politics are worse and worse. And
so I think it feels like she just jumped into a conversation with a minor point that sort of shat all over NB stuff, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, essentially. Which, again,
No gender essentialism here, Jamie. No essential.
She did. She did say that she's been in rooms with all cis people, and again, the frustrating thing about that is she's sitting there thinking of herself as the only trans person in the room, meaning that she thinks she can tell.
The toupee fallacy.
Yeah, that's the problem. Is and
like I excuse me, Jonathan, but like I was telling Lex in the chat, that's pretty ironic because Contrapoints looks more like a cis woman than I do.
And I think that is the
when
thing
she
she was
says
doing with her
that
bio
she
girl.
looks like a 24-year-old bio girl, she's right.
And I think that she was trying to acknowledge her passing privilege.
No,
but
I
trying
don't
to do it
think
with a
she
joke,
was
and
trying.
I think it was
Can
The
we
absolute worst.
use the term cisnormative woman instead of bio girl?
Yes.
Yes.
I was quoting her.
Yeah.
I know. I'm just.
And-
Can we not use the term?
Yeah,
Sure.
that's
And she was coming in using this super transphobic bullshit term, and it's just
But
kind
that's
of
the thing
awful.
with trans medicalists. They are always in discourse and vocabulary undistinguishable from TERFs.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah,
TERFs,
like trans
sorry.
medicalists, by and large, their whole thing is they want trans invisibility. They
Mm-hmm.
want
Yes.
it to be completely invisible globally for everyone.
They want
Yeah, that's
everybody to be able to pass, but that means that there's still this strong binary going on.
Yes.
No,
yeah.
but if you want to pass and be
Mhm.
invisible, okay, that's you.
Well,
but
no, I mean the thing is, it shouldn't.
leave people
passing shouldn't
alone,
be
for
a thing.
fuck's sake.
I don't think.
Well,
Passing,
yeah, but they also want, like, medicalists want people, they want only people who are capable of passing to be presenting as the gender they are.
Yeah,
Only people who are able to universally pass because of their appearance and because of their finances.
Phoenix!
Hey, Phoenix.
Hey, Phoenix.
Hi, babe!
Hey, Phoenix. Life is very hard.
Yeah,
Life sucks.
life is the worst.
Life is terrible. I blame capitalism and a lot of other things. I shouldn't just blame capitalism. There's cis heteronormativity and cis supremacy. There's patriarchy. There's white supremacy. There's ableism. There's all of course, of unjustifiable hierarchies.
Capitalism capitalizes on
Mhm.
all
Yes,
that
it does.
and amplifies it.
Mm-hmm. Puts it
So-
into strict categories, makes it worse. I don't think it doesn't just amplifies it, but reifies it. If that's the
Yeah,
tries to turn it into a
I-
concrete. Yeah.
I agree.
Yes, passing as an NB is hard, and that's another thing is that like I did made Low T Charlie on Twitter wanted to like people's comments on like the whole thing, and so I was like, okay, I have a lot to say about this, and I was
Shut
like,
up, David. Sorry. David is being an asshole in the chat as usual.
oh, David,
Life should be
I love-
abolished for capitalists and people who pretend that Finland is a real country.
Eat the rich.
Yes, let's eat to rich. But so in my video last night, I mentioned how it's like it's a lot of this. There's been a whole history with Contrapoints on her views on like gender, on passing, and what it means to be trans and non-binary. And what I forgot to also like mention, I'll do it in, like later, is that the YouTuber Erin Collective, she's a trans woman and an anarchist. She made a 4-hour long video responding to 3 of Contrapoints' videos. I butchered that one. The aesthetics, the big one, and also her pronouns ones. And that was like very telling to me in a lot of ways. I already have my problems with the aesthetics, and I mentioned that in the video last night. But it was like I missed some things that like Contra said, all tying to her personal experience, yes, and her personal feelings and her personal thoughts on what it means to be trans. But yet, I miss a lot of those things that Erin pointed out to, and how she felt uncomfortable about what Contrapoints is presenting. And the problem is also that like she is a big YouTuber, or at least in our terms, of like over 500 subs, and she has a lot of followers. And so whether she knows it or not, or whether she wanted this or not, a lot of people do hang on her words, and a lot of cis people, a lot of cis liberal centrists as well, also kind of like will take her word for granted, even though I think there are other.
But even if people wouldn't, it's still shit takes, and it's not the first
Agreed.
time. She is really starting to have a long history of being just a plain shitty human being. And I don't get why people don't see that. I mean, last time she was shitty.
She's pretty.
Yeah, she is very pretty.
And that's why they don't see the shittiness. People are willing to forgive a lot for beauty.
Last time she fucked up, she casually used rape as an example of something that was just hampering her juice. Like, fuck you.
I don't remember that. What the fuck? When was,
Wow,
what?
I don't remember that one.
Oh, let me check. I have something on my Facebook. I had the link, and then she deleted her tweet, but one of my friends found an archive. I don't know if it still works. But basically, she was saying that's why I never give credit to the people I collaborate with, because if someone is a rapist or an anti-Semite, I'm going to get shit for it, basically.
Oh yeah, I remember her complaining. It's like, oh god, every time that like I collaborate with someone, I'm supposed to like go through their entire history and know if they're a terrible person or not. I don't like doing that. I think she didn't she say that in response to like working with Vosh or something like that?
Yeah, as
Yeah,
a
she did.
defense. As a defense for working with Vosh. Instead of just saying, oh shit, he's an asshole, I won't work with him again. I mean, that's not hard.
Yeah, exactly. Instead, she is like she gets more upset at the people calling her out for like the problems that she is doing, as opposed to like, oh wait, I am doing things that I should correct. I should correct these.
Anyways, I mean, also she's a bourgeois little shit.
Yeah, it's like
I don't know how to say it any other way anymore. I mean, she has been cosplaying Marxism for too long now.
Yeah, I
annoying.
remember. I remember really liking her first video on capitalism. And I thought, okay, that's great. Well, there's some good points she makes in her second video about capitalism. I still hate how she just like doesn't know or just like I don't know how to fix the problems. And Tom McDonald would also say, well, she has like Tabby at the end of the video, basically being the call to action as a word, but as a joke, because as worth Tabby was supposed to be like the representation.
Tabby is fan service. She's here to mock Antifa while giving something to trans girls to fantasize about.
Honestly, she was like
also thirsty cis dudes, het dudes.
Yeah, I fucking hate Tabby
that
as a character.
Yeah, and yeah, it's because like I remember people talking about. I haven't seen the video itself because the last video I saw of Contras was like gender critical, and it's like, and I kind of like lost interest in watching her videos, even though she has done one on trans trenders, which I feel like I should like see just to, like see what terrible arguments she's presenting. But it's like apparently in one of her last videos, she made the comment that like leftists and socialists or like a far leftists are only slightly better than right wingers.
Thanks, I hate it.
Or something
I
like that.
found the screenshot of the tweet. If you want me to read it,
I would like to see it. Yes.
So I'll paste it in the chat, but she says, I'm always afraid to shout out collaborators because every time you publicly associate with another person, you take a risk. What if the jewelry designer once defended an anti-Semite? What if the corset lady is a rapist? I don't know. I don't have time to look into this shit. That last sentence. Oh my god.
I mean, you can't know. Hey, Metro Hunt's here. Hey. Yeah, you can't know everything about everyone. You do the best you can, and then if it turns out something is bad later, you acknowledge it. You say, "Oh, won't be doing that again," and you move forward.
And that tweet really is, when you analyze it, when you analyze what she's really saying. So yeah, that passing vocabulary is
a problem, a big problem. Not even problematic, just a problem.
I'm talking about the vocabulary in itself, because there's such a thing as passing privilege when you are for example, a very light-skinned person of color, or when you can pass as a man, when you can pass as abled, even though you are not. It's not the same thing as having the privilege, but you have some kind of privilege. And I think passing privilege is something we should talk about, but the vocabulary makes it
Well, I
easy
think
to
it's sort
mix
of
up
like bi
with
privilege.
the passing as your gender thing, and that's not something I like. We should find
I
another
think
vocabulary to talk about that.
I think trans or NB or whatever passing privilege is sort of like bi privilege in that it's not really a privilege. It's the privilege of living in the closet and being able to get away with it, which is just a different kind of stress and
Well, any
violence.
passing privilege. I mean, if you're a person of color and you can pass as white, if you're disabled and you can pass as abled,
things. Yeah, exactly. But yeah.
But you still. I mean, I can pass as abled sometimes, and I know I have it better than people who are in a wheelchair on some points, on most points, to be honest. I still suffer from ableism. It's not the question, but I don't know. I think it's an important discussion to have because a lot of non-binary folks like Peter Coffin, who have a huge male passing, will tell you, "Oh, I'm not a cis man," and will not acknowledge their privilege. You know what I mean? I'm not talking at all about cis passing here. I hope it's.
It's kind of a privilege
clear.
in that you can spend a lot of time not being actively harassed. But it comes with the detriment that you do have to kind of live a lie.
Not being beaten up for what you are is it's sad to say, but it's a privilege. I can pass as straight, and that means I have never been beaten up for not being well. That's not a good example.
And
I have never been beaten, but I have been worse.
Yeah, but that privilege comes at the cost of less notice, a bit of invisibility. So the many issues that do affect you, like
I
bi-erasure,
know. I'm not saying it's wonderful, but all privileges come with a cost. Even male privilege, even white privilege.
Yep.
So
it's a complicated and difficult discussion, but I see what you're saying about the vocab.
That's why I think it's worth having.
But
yeah, Phoenix, there are straight passing relationships, and you have a certain amount of privilege in this case. Not straight privilege, but some kind of privilege.
Yeah, I was just listening. I mean,
yeah, me too,
surprisingly
David.
relevant. Just listening to a conversation on the podcast, Season of the Bitch, a beautifully socialist, actual leftist, all-women podcast. And yesterday they were talking about bisexuality, bi-erasure, because it turns out everyone on the podcast is bisexual, or well, they're not straight.
Oh, interesting.
And then they brought in a trans NB bi icon to also engage in the conversation with them, because very, very few. It was kind of a joking rule, but one they tried to hold to as much as they could, that no cis men are allowed on the podcast. I think they made 2 exceptions, one of them for Mike Gravel.
Who?
Mike Gravel.
The presidential candidate.
I like him.
Yep. So that's pretty goddamn awesome. They got him on there. But yeah. So yesterday I was listening to an older podcast, a few weeks old, about bisexuality, bi-erasure, and all that stuff. So this stuff has been a bit on my mind.
The
That's why I'm a little bit more talkative than I might otherwise have
been. Yeah, link the podcast, babe.
this I will do.
Because I like to listen to like more actual leftist like podcasts as much as possible.
Okay, what other drama can we get into?
There's another thing about like Contra is interesting, and I brought it up in a video. And
I was kind of joking, but okay.
Inadvertently, I'm sure that she didn't want this to happen, but opportunists have like took the opportunity to say, "Oh man, this is terrible that this has happened to like Contrapoints," and so Contra has like, I'm sure she didn't intend this to happen, but she's gotten standards essentially from Ian Miles Chung, Ant-Man, and Christina Hoff Summers, and
Yeah, I saw Christina Hoff Summers defending Contra, and
if you're being
you have
defended by
to
those
think,
two, yeah.
Yeah, imagine, and not thinking that you're fucking up, you know? Imagine seeing Christina Hoff Summers defending you and still thinking you're in the right. That's why I say Contra has been cosplaying leftism for long, because also, have you seen someone tweeted that based on the number Contra has of patrons on Patreon, with the minimum, they calculated how much money Contra makes in a year just with
It's like $100,000 a year, I'd think.
a minimum.
No, it's over 220,000.
And it's a minimum.
Yeah, that's if everybody is only subscribed at the lowest tier.
Yeah, she has like 10,000 subscribers, a little under, I think.
So
yeah, that's $10,000 a month.
What I want to say here is that I don't think you can realistically really be a leftist when you have so much money. Because money is strange, you get attached to it. And being a leftist is about letting it go, in a sense.
Yeah, I agree. I'd love to give thanks to my one patron, but a special thanks to my one patron of Echo Anarchist Squirrel. Thank you, Echo Anarchist Squirrel.